Welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast, folks. I hope you guys had a great holiday weekend and a great Thanksgiving to break bread with family and friends, colleagues, neighbors. But folks, we have a great show in store for you today. We are going to be sitting down with the vice president of marketing of the Panthers Warriors Hockey. That's right, folks. South Florida has a disabled veterans hockey team. I know most of you are thinking, beaches and the sun and the surf, but folks, there is a disabled hockey league down in South Florida that we're going to learn a lot about today. But first,
hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
In 2019, the Panthers Warriors Hockey, Disabled Veteran Hockey Club, was established down in South Florida, and they have become a staple, not only in South Florida, but in the state of Florida, and they're expanding their reach. We are in Texas. I was just in Alaska on an adventure project with a bunch of veterans, and I keep hearing this Warriors Hockey Club, out of South Florida. And I started to dig more into it and thought that they would be a really good podcast. And so we got a hold of their vice president of marketing, Mr. Wayne Whitmore. And with that, we are joined by Wayne himself. How are you, sir?
Hey, Tally. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, man. I think I got a turkey hangover there.
Yeah, you and me both, brother.
Yeah, man. I gotta get my steps in every day, man. I tell you, man. Especially now with all the pie I ate. Holy smokes! I think I gained 10 pounds.
That's all right.
Maybe I need to get out and play hockey. I know. You guys are some calorie burning people out there on that ice.
Yeah, it's great cardio.
So listen, I was in Alaska a couple months ago, and I came across this guy by the name of Nacho, right? I think we have a common friend there in Frank.
Yep, Francisco Cortez, Nacho.
Yeah, so he was telling me a lot about what he does in his free time as a hobby down in South Florida where he lives. I believe he's from Miami, but I think he travels to play with you guys. And, he was telling me a lot about what you guys do within the veteran community and the Panthers Warriors Hockey Club. Would you like to kind of start with an intro on who you are and a little bit about what the Panthers Warriors Hockey Club is all about?
Sure. Thanks for having us. And my name's Wayne Whitmore. I was, Army Reserves veteran. Joined in 2000 and went from 2000 to 2008. Grew up in Western New York playing hockey my whole life. Dad played hockey, brother played hockey, my younger brother played Division I and pro hockey. So I was, able to be around a lot of high level competitive hockey players. And then after I got out of the military and, right around 2010, I moved down to South Florida just with the idea and the intentions of helping to grow the game of hockey in South Florida. Love the game of hockey, hate the winters in Western New York. So I figured the sunny beaches of South Florida would be a much better place to share my passion of the game of hockey. And then over the course of just being involved in the local youth hockey programs, travel hockey programs, and, playing adult league hockey down here in Florida, I met a guy named Gabe Accardi. And Gabe was a retired Navy SEAL veteran, also a hockey player, very established goaltender, won a national championship as a goalie in hockey. And, Gabe just had this real desire and passion to start the Panthers Warriors. The USA Hockey Warriors program is, one of their disciplines, and, they do a great job giving veterans all around the country a chance to get some therapy through playing the game of hockey. So at the time when Gabe reached out to me, I just unfortunately wasn't able to help him and to get involved. But I told him, if there's ever anything I could do, I'd love to keep in touch. Fast forward to 2019, I received a text message from Gary Roskin. Gary is a civilian supporter who's neighbors with Gabe Accardi. And Gabe was talking with Gary Roskin, and he was also talking with another disabled veteran, Nick Butterworth. And the three of them together, worked with the Florida Panthers, were able to come up with a sub-licensee agreement with the Florida Panthers, use a 501c3 that Gary had established and created. And the three of them were able to found the Florida Panthers Warriors, or the Panthers Warriors. So that all happened in 2019. The only unfortunate tragedy of the story is that Gabe Accardi passed away the day that the program was established. So he was never able to see the dream and the program of the Panthers Warriors come to fruition. But because of his goals and because of his intentions and his desires, we put this team together in 2019. We went to the Warrior Classic in Las Vegas, and we ended up winning the Tier 2 division of the tournament. So we came back from that first tournament as champions, and from there the program's really just taken off. We started with 7 or 8 members, and now we have about 60 active members involved in the program. So it's very exciting to see the growth.
First off, man, I'm very sorry about what happened to, the visionary really behind this. But he's looking down on you guys, and when he sees the work and the effort and the dedication, the commitment that you guys are putting forth to protect our nation's veterans. Having that vision to start something like this, speaks a lot to his character. And again, I am very sorry for the passing of him, but it looks like everything he had in mind, like you said, has been put into fruition, and those, gears are going forward. Now, you started this with 7, 8 veterans, and now you're up to 60 in a very short period of time. What's the age gap between your youngest and your oldest player?
So we don't just limit our program to disabled veterans only. We do have non-disabled veterans like myself. That's part of the program. We also have active duty members and reservists that are allowed to participate in our program. So because of that, I'd say our youngest are guys in their early 20s. Some of them are still in the reserves. A couple of them are active duty, and when they're home on leave, they skate with us. And then we've got guys that were in Vietnam that are in their 70s that still lace them up and come out and skate. So really, it's fully inclusive. At any age, obviously either gender, and any ability, whether it's you're just learning to play hockey for the first time, or you've been playing your whole life like I've been. Anybody that wants to come out and get this type of therapy is welcome to.
So, this is a competitive league, right? It's not just like a softball league. You get the first, you pound a beer, get the second, pound another beer, get the third, pound another beer, and then do a keg stand at home, right?
So we do all sorts of things. Obviously, the entire program, the organization is built around healing through hockey. So anybody that's ever put on the equipment and gone out onto the ice and played hockey, you feel that that sense of dopamine, or so that euphoric feeling of, wow, I'm so much better now than I was an hour ago before I skated. So it really truly is a form of therapy. Mm-hmm. As a program, we get together once a month for a 2-hour practice. We do that monthly. That's our monthly therapy. We also have 2 teams in local adult leagues. So we have kind of a upper team and a lower team playing every week in a local, adult league here in South Florida. And then we go out and we compete in tournaments against other veteran hockey teams. So we were just in Las Vegas over Veterans Day weekend in the Armed Services Hockey Association tournament. We also compete every year in the Warrior Classic and then the USA Hockey National Disabled Festival in the spring. So we do about 4 to 5 tournaments throughout the year, and then we do the local adult league and a monthly practice.
That makes a lot more sense now. You know, you've got some really competitive teams that you put forth, but you have those therapy sessions where everybody gets to go out there and just kind of shoot around and have fun. You got a 20-year-old kid out there with a 75-year-old man. Of course, they're not going to be equally yoked because, well, sometimes those old guys will prove you wrong. But
we get competitive. Even in practice, we get competitive for sure.
Yeah. You know, you got a 25-year-old kid out there who's going against a Vietnam veteran. Man, you know, like I said, if you were in a game, I mean, that Vietnam veteran would probably end up getting gassed. But if you're a Vietnam veteran and you're still lacing them up, you're probably a pretty tough SOB. Is what I think.
Oh yeah. We've got guys. You know, we have Top Gun pilots. We've got Special Forces. We have Purple Hearts. Every military branch, different years of service, different levels. That to me is one of the things that's so great about this program is nobody's out there trying to pull rank. Nobody's out there trying to show off how many goals they scored or who's the better hockey player. It's all very similar to when you get to a basic training. You're all wearing the same color. You're all the same group, and everybody's treated equally. So that's what makes the program a lot of fun.
Lots of camaraderie, I take it within this organization when everybody's out there, probably, talking about each other's branches of service and, just kicking back, just, talking smack, right?
It's always fun. Always. And I think that's one of the things that's enjoyable is, every single, male and female on the team served in some capacity. So you all have that common ground of ability to relate. And I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter, you can have a best friend since birth or your wife or significant other can be your best friend, but something about being around military veterans where you just are so free to have an open and honest conversation. You never feel like you're being judged. You never feel like you're being looked down upon. And it gives guys and girls the ability to open up and talk about if there's, some tough times going on with addictions or with, depression or anything like that. It just seems like when we get together as a group, people feel safe to say what's on their mind. And that's really important for us.
Yeah. I think that dark humor too brings a lot of veterans together, and that's when they begin to open up, share a couple of laughs. And then, sometimes, you have those moments where some folks are going through some life challenges or some difficulties. And you never know who may be there to help pick you up. But definitely getting out there and skating and shooting that puck and blocking people into the boards and all that stuff will definitely take your mind off a lot of things. I know when I was a youngster, we used to go out to the local duck pond that the fire department would flood every Wednesday night. And we'd have good skating Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And by Sunday, it was like, yeah, it needs to be flooded again. But I can tell you when I was a young guy, lacing them up as a young teenager, you get, like I said, going out to the local duck pond, it takes a lot out of you. I'm not sure if they've never played hockey before, man. It takes everything. Like when you're in a fight, it's like, man, it's like 30 seconds later, you're gassed. I mean, that's almost like how it is playing hockey, up and down, up and down, up and down, man. Describe the support that you guys get locally from your community from an NHL team. I mean, that's right there. That speaks a lot about your program when you start getting NHL professional hockey teams involved in supporting what you guys do. the Florida Panthers. What's that support been like, and what's the growth been like because of the support that you are getting from a local NHL team?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many different stories I could share with you, but the Florida Panthers being involved with our program, the Panthers Warriors is a sub-licensee of the Florida Panthers. So there's a lot of different Warrior hockey programs around the country, but not all of them get to have that linkage and support with the NHL affiliate in their city. The owner of the Florida Panthers, Mr. Vinny Viola, he's from West Point. The CEO and president, Matthew Caldwell, another West Point guy. You've got Keith Fine, who's from West Point, and then Bryce Holweg, who's the chief operating officer. Bryce Holweg was actually the captain of the Army hockey team while he was a cadet at West Point Academy. And, Bryce plays in some of the local tournaments with us. You also have Rob Stevenson, who's a former Navy SEAL. He's an executive vice president there with the Florida Panthers, and he skates with us as well. So it's just a huge combination of, additional military veterans that are heavily involved with the Florida Panthers organization. And I feel like because of that, they really support us any way we can. And I joke with Bryce all the time because I give him some of the craziest requests. I'll send him text messages or phone calls and say, hey, Bryce, any chance we could do this or any chance we could do that? And he could easily say no. He could say, Wayne, I don't have time. I'm busy running an NHL program here. But he always answers. He always responds. And one example of that, we had a member of our programs named Carl McLeod. Carl was battling cancer a couple of years ago, and we did a really fun benefit game just to raise some money for his medical costs. And then when Carl ended up passing away, we weren't sure what to do to memorialize him. We wanted to have a service, and somebody suggested, what if we do the service in one of the local rinks? So I reached out to Bryce Holweg and I said, hey, any chance we could use the Panthers practice facility, the ice den, to have this memorial service for Carl? He said, what if we do it in the big arena? And the next thing you know, we have a stage set up. We have, images of Carl on the Jumbotron. We had a dozen different people from the arena staff working with us to make sure that his family and friends and his daughter and everybody that knew Carl knew that he was an important part of the Panthers Warriors and the South Florida hockey community. And, those are the types of things that the Florida Panthers don't have to do. They don't have to open up their arena to us. They don't have to help organize charity games with their alumni group. But they do it because they know the importance of military veterans and they know the importance of the Panthers Warriors hockey program.
That's an incredible relationship that you guys have built and forged in a very short period of time. And, I love how you said everybody's from West Point. They're all from New York and they're all down there in South Florida. It's, what they always say that Florida is the New Yorkers' playground, right?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is.
It's kind of like, Texans in Colorado, Californians in Colorado, New York and Florida. It's, I guess that's where they go, right?
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of Northeasterns in general, but definitely a lot of New Yorkers.
Mm-hmm. New York South, I guess. And you guys brought the hockey.
I don't miss the winter. I definitely don't miss the winter.
And you brought the ice with you. I remember when the Florida Panthers came out as an expansion team. I'm like, hockey in South Florida doesn't make any sense to me, but they're actually really good.
Well, I've been here for about 13 seasons now. When I used to go to Florida games, when I first got down here, I went to Panthers games because I love hockey and I love watching NHL hockey players play hockey. But it was tough. The building was empty. The only time it was packed was when, the teams from Toronto or New York or Boston were in town and it was filled with their fan base. Yeah. And ever since Vinny bought the team And one of my all-time favorites was he hired Bill Zito, and Bill Zito really came on board, and he's just done a phenomenal job changing the culture, changing the perception of who the team is, and the style of play. And they had Joel Quinville as a coach, and unfortunately it didn't work out with Joel. But then he was able to hire Paul Maurice, and Paul Maurice has just done a phenomenal job the last 2 seasons. The team plays such a different style. Every game's competitive, every game's entertaining. And now you go to a game on a Monday night, and there's 19,000 fans, and they're all cheering for the Florida Panthers. So it really says a lot about what they've done to grow not only the game of hockey in South Florida, but the culture of what it's like to be a Panthers fan. I joke that for the first 10 years I wasn't a Panthers fan, and all of a sudden these last few years I'm definitely on board. I'm a full-fledged Florida Panthers hockey fan. So
Absolutely. Well, I mean, with the relationships that you forged with the office, that you deal with, I mean, heck, I'd be a big fan too. I mean,
yeah.
with what they're doing, for veterans, and I mean, it's incredible. And every city has their way of giving back, but to have that direct line of communication is very important, and really that just talks about what type of organization that you guys are running. And oftentimes I say on this program is there's no better time in our nation to be a veteran. There's so many programs out there that are designed to help prevent veteran suicide and first responder suicide. We are definitely fighting this epidemic here in our country, with wars and, trauma and, anxiety and depression. And to have programs like yours out there available for veterans that are in need is something that every city in America and town needs. And the giving back that I see from across the country, from all facets, from the corporate world all the way down to your local mom and pop restaurant, all kind of chip in and give as they can monetarily to keep programs like yours alive. Now, speaking monetarily, do the Florida Panthers help provide some of that relief that it takes to run an organization like this, or are you guys solely looking for donations from your average, Billy, Joe, and Bob?
Well, we're obviously a 501c3 non-for-profit, so all of our money comes from donations and charitable contributions, fundraising, things of that nature. We try our best to get out into the community and do different fundraising initiatives, and so we do raise money ourselves. The Florida Panthers, they partnered up last season with the NHL while the NHL was down here for the All-Star weekend. And they went out and did a community grant initiative where they looked for a few different local hockey organizations that were, growing the game of hockey and doing so in a manner that the Florida Panthers felt was worthy of their support. And so we gave a presentation, almost like if you've seen the show Shark Tank, we kind of gave a presentation to a few panelists from the Florida Panthers, the NHL, the NHLPA, where we showed them, our mission statement, the growth of our program, and what their investment or what their financial support would provide us. Obviously, being that we're playing hockey, that's the most expensive part, being able to cover the cost of ice. So, with the help of the NHL and the Florida Panthers, we received a grant last season, which is very beneficial. It goes into our budget. And then we also get a little bit of a discount on our hourly ice cost. But we don't ask for anything for free from them. We don't ask for a handout, nor would we expect one. We want to serve the community. We all served our country, and now we feel it's important that we are out there serving our community. So whether it's, picking up trash on Fort Lauderdale Beach or laying reefs at a local, funeral memorial site during Reefs Across America, we do try to get out there and do some community service as well. And that helps get our message out, and that helps to get some attention from the local businesses.
Sure, hockey is one of those sports that I think it's the most expensive sport to play. Like you said, ice time. It's not like getting a football field. Ice time is very valuable and it's very expensive. Plus, you got headgear, you've got shoulder pads, you've got, rib protect. The gear that you guys have is very expensive. And then you got skates on top of that. What does the program provide to these veterans?
So right now we provide the ice, the monthly skate that I mentioned, the 2 hours each month, and that's something that we provide out of our budget. And then when we go to the disabled festival tournaments, the USA Warrior Classic and the National Disabled Festival, we cover all of the expenses for the players, such as the registration fees, hotel costs. We usually cover the majority of the travel expenses as well, and sometimes the per diem for daily meals. The equipment, what we're going to be doing in the future, and this is something we actually learned from another Warrior program in a different part of the country, is just doing some equipment drives at the local rink where we collect used equipment from other players. And what you can do with that is you can bring it to a secondhand store, a Play It Again Sports kind of store, and from there get store credit, use that store credit for other equipment, things that will help get a player to come out and play. But we tell anyone that reaches out to us or anybody that asks us, hey, what do I have to do to start playing? How do I get, involved? If somebody wants to give it a try, we'll fit them for equipment. We'll give them a set of gear that they can put on and come out onto the ice and skate around and give it a try before they go and make that large investment. Because you're absolutely right. You're talking $200 sticks, $700-800 skates, and then the list just goes on and on. By the time you buy a full set of brand new gear, you're looking at $3,000-4,000. So it's not worth it for somebody that's trying it for the first time or isn't sure if they're going to like it or not. We always tell people like that, we'll put you in gear, come give it a shot if you like it. We also work with the Florida Panthers. They do adult learn to play programs. We'll cover the cost for one of our veterans to participate in a learn to play program if that's how they want to start playing.
It's definitely not one of those sports where you just go buy a basketball and you're playing, or soccer,
No, unfortunately not. But I always say, once you start playing and you feel the game of hockey and you learn the game of hockey, it's just so special. There's really nothing like it.
Now, you are only 3 years old, and the growth of the Panthers Warriors Hockey Club has been exponential. I mean, it's probably more than what you guys could have ever really thought or really imagined. And again, that's credit to your board of directors, as well as you, always getting out and being the face behind this honorable organization. Now, you guys do something that is pretty awesome. You put on these fundraising games. You're not just, hey, just give us money. Like, you have these games and you can go across the country and play other teams, whether they're disabled veteran teams or fire department clubs or police officer clubs across America. Now, explain how the fundraising games work and how others can get involved to help.
Yeah, so just to go back to where you talked about the growth and the credit, obviously the credit goes to our members. They've done a great job, whether they're on the board or they're just a member. Everybody seems to chip in when needed. And then also, just to mention Gary Roskin again, Gary's done a really, really good job as our one of our co-founders and our treasurer of just constantly, has his nose to the grindstone, just listening and hearing about opportunities and events and things that we can get involved in. But we've done some charity games with the Lee County Sheriffs over on the west side of Florida. We did a charity game with the South Florida's Finest, which is the law enforcement hockey team down here in South Florida, to raise money. That was with Carl McLeod while he was battling cancer. And then what we ended up doing this past year was we started the an annual 9/11 Always Remember Never Forget tournament, where again that gives not only our veteran hockey members but the local law enforcement and local first responders an opportunity to get together and play hockey, right around the weekend, either before or after 9/11. And that has been beneficial for us as well to raise money. So we're looking forward to doing that event again in 2024. We're hoping to expand it to bring in some more teams around the country. But yeah, we're always happy to connect with other veteran programs and other first responder hockey teams, where if somebody's organizing an event, whether it's in Florida or outside of the state, and they want to include the Panthers Warriors, the easiest way is just, you can contact Gary Roskin. It's Gary at PanthersWarriorsHockey.org. We have his email and his phone number available. And Gary does a really good job fielding those inquiries and then filtering them to us and letting us know what's available for us to participate in.
Sure. I'm going to take a quick break here. You will still be with us, but I want to give a shout out to today's show sponsor, which is Mountain Man Dan with the Mountain Man brand. This guy is a poet, Colorado, from Canyon City, Colorado, the Rockies, the Rocky Mountain West. This guy here sent us some gear, and he's got a great business. He's keeping that Rocky Mountain old Western tradition heritage alive. He's got an awesome website. Go check him out today, mtnmn.com. That's mtnmn.com. You will find a wide variety of products on his website. Christmas is coming, folks. Go support Mountain Man Dan. He's also a veteran, and he's also on the board of directors for the Military Rodeo Cowboy Association. That's right, folks. Another 501c3 nonprofit that's out there geared to helping our nation's wounded warriors, as the Florida Panthers Warriors Hockey is out doing the same exact thing. Rodeo and hockey. Like I said, there's not a better time in this country to be a veteran. There's literally something for everybody out there. All you got to do is just search. Just search. If you're going through some hard times out there, and figure out what that hobby may be. Figure out what that next step might be in bettering yourself, and get up and get out there, step outside of your comfort zone and learn to live again. And that's exactly what these programs are geared toward. Now, you had mentioned that you have a big event coming up in 2024 with the 9/11 remembrance. What other events do you guys have coming up here?
We are going to be doing, I believe, December 23rd, after the Florida Panthers and Vegas Golden Knights game in South Florida. That's a Saturday afternoon game at the Amerant Bank Arena. We're going to be doing a charity game partnering up with the Florida Panthers alumni players. So we're going to kind of intermix the two teams and split them up, where there'll be veterans and alumni players on both teams. And one will wear the red jerseys, one will wear the white jerseys. And we're just going to try to raise some money for our program. That's going to be Saturday, December 23rd. So anybody that is attending the Florida Panthers game that afternoon that has purchased a ticket will automatically be able to stick around after their game's over, and they could hang out, move down to the lower bowl if they've never sat close to the glass before, and they could watch the veterans and the Panthers alumni just battle it out for a fun little charity hockey game. That's going to be on the 23rd of December. And then in the new year, we have the National Disabled Festival Tournament, which is in April. And I believe that's going to be up in New Jersey this year, right outside of New York City. And then Memorial Day weekend, we always do the Armed Services Hockey Association Memorial Day tournament. And last year, they hosted that tournament at our home rink in Coral Springs. And I believe they're going to be coming back for a second year since it was such a successful tournament and a fun weekend. So we'll be doing that Memorial Day weekend.
Outstanding. Sounds like a blast. Do you guys ever get down here to Houston, play any games?
I know we've played against the Dallas Warriors team, but I don't believe we've ever played them in Texas. We would certainly love to. I mean, yeah, we would go to Houston, we'd go to Alaska, we'd go anywhere that veterans or first responders want to play hockey.
Mm-hmm. Folks, and like we were talking, contact Gary Roskin for any fundraising games. He is there. He is that conduit there between you and setting up a fundraising game between the Panthers Warriors Hockey Club out of South Florida. Email Gary today, Gary@PanthersWarriorsHockey.org. That's Gary@PanthersWarriorsHockey.org, or call him 954-695-4834. And Gary will get that completely set up and hopefully get you guys back out on the road and kind of sharing that camaraderie with other clubs too. Can you explain to me, perhaps you got a success story out there that you'd like to share with us today?
There's a few. We had one when we went to the we went to the Armed Services Hockey Tournament in Nashville, Tennessee. This was a couple of years ago over Memorial Day, and one of the players, disabled veteran, also in law enforcement here in South Florida. He was just going through a tough time. We got him to the tournament, and the first game he wasn't able to leave his hotel room. Just didn't want to leave the room, and figured nobody would really notice, nobody would miss him. Then he would just maybe play in the next game. And when the guys in the locker room realized he wasn't there, they just someone go pick him up, and they drove back to the hotel, said, "Hey, come on, let's go. We got a game to play." Picked him up, brought him to the game, played very well, had a lot of fun. And, the email he sent to us afterwards, just reminding us how important that is and what that meant to him, that really says a lot about our program. And then there's another player who was, he's a Marine, disabled, really took some bad injuries overseas. And when he started the program, very quiet, very just didn't know how to act around the other guys, and was in his shell. And just over time, and nobody put any pressure on him, nobody forced him to do anything he didn't want to do. But just over time, to watch him come out of his shell, and now the way that he interacts and the way that he talks and laughs and jokes, and you can really see what this program means to him and how it's benefited him. And there's stories like that all over the place. So I think that's what's the best. And then the only other thing I would mention, I think it's important to mention, we talked about the Florida Panthers and their ownership and their management and how much the staff supports our program. But I think it's important to also mention one of their players on the team, number 94, Ryan Lomberg, who's one of the forwards for the Florida Panthers. He met our program a few years ago, and he just, as soon as he learned about the Panthers Warriors and what we were about and what we do, he said, I want to come out and skate with you guys. When's your next practice? I'd love to come skate with you and meet the team. And, like I said, my brother's played pro hockey. I've been around a lot of pro hockey guys. They're always down to earth. They're always very humble and willing to do those types of things. But it's also, there's times where just schedules conflict and, something happens the day of. So I told him when we had our practice, he showed up. We had an hour and a half skate. I told him, hey, after the first hour, you're more than welcome to take off. You don't have to stick around for the whole hour. He's like, no, I have no problem, nothing to do. Stayed for the whole hour and stayed for the whole hour and a half, stayed afterwards, took pictures, signed autographs. And now he's just a regular. He comes out to our events when he can. He comes out to our practices when he can. He waves to the guys at the game during warm-ups. Every time the Florida Panthers honor a military veteran, every game they do a hero among us. Ryan Lomberg's on the ice tapping his stick, saluting that veteran. And, it just goes to show he comes from a great family. His grandfather was in the Royal Canadian Navy. And he has so much respect and appreciation for not only the veterans that play, but the law enforcement and the first responders. So for us to have that kind of support from a current NHL hockey player, and to be able to say, Ryan Lomberg's an honorary Panther Warrior, and just to know him as a buddy and as a friend, I think it's so valuable to our guys and girls that we have that connection. And Ryan doesn't do it for the glorification. Ryan doesn't do it to get likes or clicks. He doesn't post on his social media when he's skating with us or anything like that. He does it because he wants to do it out of the kindness of his heart. So I think it's important for the viewers and for us to tip our hat and tap our sticks to a guy like that, because those guys can do anything they want in their free time. And for, someone like that to want to come and skate with us veterans is very, very valuable.
That is awesome. And good on Ryan. He's not looking for fanfare. He's out there because he wants to be. He's out there because he wants to give back. These athletes, are making a ton of money, and oftentimes, they get caught up in all their day-to-day commercials and this and that, and practice and team walks and front office stuff and family stuff that they really don't have a lot of time to give back. But folks like Ryan, like you said, he comes from a military family, from Canada. And not to mention, these NHL hockey players are some phenomenal role models. I mean, these guys are salt of the earth. They're down to earth. I mean, you really couldn't pick a more of a professional sports professional league here in the United States that, these guys are all humble, and, they're not out there, it's not about just them. Hockey is a big team sport, and, you'll never see anybody out there just doing it, for themselves, as we do see in a lot of other sports here in the United States, a lot of ones, if you will. But it seems as if the more hockey I watch, the more I love the game, the camaraderie it brings, the family unit that hockey brings, and really, again, the guys that are involved in the sport of hockey are always giving back. And again, they're not doing it for the fanfare; they're doing it because they care. And I think they're really doing it is because I think they're really proud to be playing in the United States of America, as a lot of these players are. Come from foreign lands, and they do want to give back, and they want to give back to a people like the United States citizens, and additionally, U.S. military, veterans. So that says a lot about the NHL and its stance when it comes to supporting veteran and veteran 501c3s like the Panthers Warriors Hockey. Now, where are you guys going? Again, you're 3 years old, and you guys are in the driver's seat right now. What's the vision in the future look like?
I can't wait until the next generation comes in, and I'm just the old guy that's still lacing them up, and there's younger guys that are running the program. That I'm looking forward to when the current board members can, turn it over or hand it down to the next group coming up. That's something that I will look forward to one day. For the immediate future, we are going to be utilizing the new practice facility for the Florida Panthers, and that's the Fort Lauderdale War Memorial Auditorium. They are planning on opening the rink hopefully in the early part of 2024, March, April, around there. And that's going to be an absolutely beautiful facility. It's located right in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, minutes away from Fort Lauderdale Beach. And it's going to have 2 sheets of ice and a full-size, full restaurant, as well as an auditorium, about a 3,000 to 4,000 person venue auditorium. And so just the events that we'll be able to put on in that place, and the fact that it's, the War Memorial Auditorium, it's the perfect place for the Panthers Warriors to be in the community and play hockey. And I feel like the overall growth, we're just starting to scratch the surface with the funds that we're raising and the support that we're getting from the local business community. Once that really starts to build and to grow, I see, more of the tournaments where we can take care of the members. And so, you want to go to Colorado for the Warrior Classic, we're covering the cost. You want to go to Philadelphia for the Disabled Festival, we're covering the costs, and giving the members the ability to do what they love to do without feeling the financial burden. I think that's really going to be helpful and beneficial to some of our members. And that comes with time, that comes with growth. But also it's important that we, that we budget our money wisely. We've done a great job of building a decent amount into our account, but we can easily drain that account in 1 year if we're not careful. So it's important for us as we grow that we are, financially responsible with the funds that we raise, but also we use them for the right purposes. And ultimately the right purpose is playing hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Playing hockey and saving lives. Really at the end of the day through therapy, and your therapy comes in the form of playing hockey. And I love it. Get that aggression out on the ice.
You really do. And that, I guess we could circle back to Gabe Accardi. If Gabe saw what we have created, he'd be so proud. He'd be so honored. But at the same time, we lost Gabe because we didn't have this program established sooner. And, hopefully through this program, we don't have to go through another situation like we did with Gabe, where, he just, he had some demons, he had some tough battles. And Gabe was a real true American hero. He was a Navy SEAL that, went through a lot of stuff that, I hope nobody has to go through or deal with, but he did it honorably, and he did it graciously and heroically. So, it's important for us. And we still keep in touch with Gabe's family. I'm good buddies with his brother, Pete Accardi, and we see Mr. and Mrs. Accardi every now and then when they're down in Florida. And we make sure they know that Gabe's still very much a part of our program. And we carry a banner honoring Gabe to every event we do and every game we play. And, just like Carl McLeod, who's no longer with us, is still a very important part of our program. We had Carl's brother, Chuck McLeod, play in a tournament with us. So, those are the types of things that mean the most to our members and to our program, is that we're saving lives, and we're making sure that people that are no longer here to play hockey are not forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Remember and honor, save lives, and do everything that would be expected of you and what you guys put forth out there every day. You guys are a support system, and you guys are a family, and you've structured it like that. And that's That's awesome. And, folks, if you want to learn more about the Panthers Warriors hockey, go and visit them online. You can also donate there as well to support this disabled veterans hockey club. Go to PanthersWarriorsHockey.org. That's PanthersWarriorsHockey.org. Man, this has been great, Wayne. I sincerely appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about what you guys do with the Panthers Warriors hockey down there in South Florida. A little bit about your program and the birth and the vision and where you guys are headed, the lives that have been touched and saved, and everything that you guys are doing. Again, every single day in your community, like you said, even when it comes to picking up trash. So again, the honor is all ours here on the Today with Tally podcast.
Yeah, shout out to Nacho for setting this up.
Yeah, Nacho's a good man. Yes, yeah,
he really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're lucky to have a guy like that on your program. That is a very fine man, and frank, and he had nothing but great things to say about what he's a part of down there in South Florida. So I know he's proud. He's very proud about what he does and his off time down there, as he should be.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have him and all the other members. And it's an open invite to you, Tally. So if you ever are in South Florida and you feel like lacing them up, it's going to be a little different than the duck pond, but I promise we'll take it easy on you for the first few minutes.
Man, I got so much hardware in my spine. If I go out there, I might kill myself. I'll watch. How about that? Yeah. Or I'll just grab a stick and tap the ice and say, "What's up, guys?"
We'd love to have you anytime.
Right on, man. I appreciate that sincerely. Folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. It has never been easier to listen to this podcast. We're on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Simply search Today with Tally. Also learn more about me and my personal story, and perhaps even get my new book for a friend, colleague, for Christmas. Go to BrianTally.com. That's BrianTally.com. Folks, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for the Today with Tally podcast, this is Brian Tally. Good night. Semper Fi. God bless.